Hi there, and thank you for your question. So this is for Unit 1, and the question is, you were given this sentence: when methane is burned with oxygen, the products are carbon dioxide and water. And then they gave you the amounts of all of the substances except for oxygen, and they wanted you to figure out how many grams of oxygen there were. Well, before I put down what variables or what values they gave for each of these chemicals, so we have methane burned with oxygen, so we call that the reactant side. The reactants are what come together in a chemical reaction, and then what's made in that chemical reaction is called the products. So the reactants are methane and oxygen, and the products are the chemicals of carbon dioxide and water. So what that looks like is we have methane burning with oxygen, turns into the products carbon dioxide plus water. And if we have this reaction happening in a closed system, so nothing can come into the closed system and nothing can come out, then we don't have to worry that we're contaminating the reaction, and we can depend on the laws of conservation of mass, which is the idea that matter cannot be destroyed or new matter can't be created. You have to work with what you're given. So what that means is that whatever the mass of the products is, that's going to equal, I should say the mass of the reactants, not the products on that side. So the mass of the reactants going in, mass of the reactants will equal the mass of the products that were created. And there won't be anything left over if all of the reactants are used up to make the products. So back to the question, they say that when they measured out the products, they had 36 grams of water and they had 44 grams of carbon dioxide, and they knew that they started out with 16 grams of methane. What they don't know is how many grams, so X amount of grams of oxygen was burned in order to get that methane, and that's what you need to find out. So in math language, that 16 grams is added to our unknown X of oxygen is going to equal the mass of the products, so that's going to be 44 grams of carbon dioxide plus 36 grams of water. Now if I simplify the product side, 44 grams plus 36 grams is going to give us 80 grams in total of product, which means that the total mass of our reactants also have to equal 80 grams. Now we can rearrange this formula to solve for X. So what we want to do is bring this 16 grams over to this side, and that will leave us with the amount of oxygen is equal to a specific amount. And using algebra, we're going to take the 16 grams away from this side, which means we also have to do the same on this side as well, and that's going to give us unknown amount of grams is equal to 80 grams minus 16 grams, and all together when you take 80 subtract 16, you get 64 grams of oxygen. And the check that you can do is you want to add your amount of methane plus oxygen. So we have 16 grams of methane to start. Our unknown was 64 grams of oxygen. That equals 80 grams altogether of reactant, and we saw right here that we have 80 grams of product. So that works out correctly. So what you have to remember here is that we're following the law of conservation of mass. However amount of reactants that you have, that's going to equal the amount of product as long as everything is used up, because you cannot create new matter. You can't add matter to the system. If you start out with 80 grams, you have to have 80 grams of stuff left over. So I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any further questions. Bye for now.